I did want to ask you, interim tag is gone, been head coach for a while now. What are some of the biggest priorities that you've had since taking over full-time head coach?
Well, I think the first thing is making sure the ice cream flavors are exactly the type we want. The second thing, we're trying to get a Ferris wheel installed outside.
It's really just carnival, you know.
All right, you ready?
Coach, thank you so much for joining me today. Appreciate you taking the time. Interim tag is gone. Full-time head coach. What are some of the biggest priorities that you've been focusing on since taking over full-time?
Well, the first thing was, the day that I, officially signed to become the head coach was, it's right at the start of the Coaches on the Road recruiting, and so that's obviously a priority, and getting out and securing class and making sure we get the right kids that are the right fit for Georgia Tech and fit us, but at the same time, working every day to put together a staff. So, and finding the right guys in that mold too. I wanted guys that, number one, were great men, and the utmost highest recommendation that I got really on everyone that we hired was, number one, they were a great man, a great person, and wanted to be a great father, a great husband, and have high character and high morals. So, that process of going through and interviewing people and finding the right fit for Georgia Tech and for our kids was really important to me. And like I said, at the same time, the recruiting aspect. So it's been full speed ahead with both of those ever since.
Right. In addition to the character of the coaches you want, how do you envision your staff coming together? I mean, that's actually a pretty big undertaking for everyone to be good at what they do individually, and also the whole staff to work together cohesively.
Yeah, well, the fit is very important.
Sure.
You have the individual things that you want in each coach. Character-wise, as a human being, then as how are they as a teacher? How are they as a recruiter? So you have those things that you have to look at that are very important. But then once you kind of put the base pieces in, it is a puzzle. And it's making sure that all the pieces fit. You have different types of backgrounds and different types of personalities and different types of different men relate to different players differently, and same with with some of the women we have on the staff. And but you want the right fit, and you want all those pieces to fit together at the end, so you have a staff that really can address all those needs when it comes to the welfare of our players.
What did you see last season that really, some of the biggest things that really encouraged you once you took over? And then what were some of the things that you saw as you went along that you were like, okay, I see how we can fix this moving forward. This has to be a priority to fix moving forward.
Yeah. The biggest thing was just the way the kids played and the resiliency that they had, and the enthusiasm that they had.
There was an energy shift.
There was.
Yeah.
And just to see them loving to play the game, and not just on game day, but seeing enjoyment come from practice and coming from hard practices, and practices full pads on Tuesday or Wednesday, and having fun at the end of practice and still wanting to compete with each other, and not wanting the practice to end. So that was the most encouraging thing that you saw was, they were working hard but having fun doing it, and that's what you want. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a high stakes game that we're all involved in, but it's a game.
Yeah.
And we all play games as kids to have fun, but the stakes that are involved cause people to lose sight of that a lot of times, and to be able to instill that type of culture with your team that they still go out there and have fun doing it, and that was really important, and it was awesome to see. It re-injuvenated myself and other coaches, and really helped us and helped myself really push through that season. But then at the same time, you're always taking notes. You're always thinking, okay, this needs to be better. This needs to be better. We got to fix this. We got to change this. If this was to happen, down the road at the end of the season, here's some of the immediate things that we've got to address and we've got to fix. And I think that really came with in the beginning of addressing the staff and some of the needs there.
I heard you mention recently that toughness in spring practice was a big priority to you, and it sounds like that's kind of part of the way you're trying to change the culture here. What does that look like to you, and how do you rub that up? How do you get that?
I mean, it's the way you live. I mean, no one is necessarily born tough, but you have to create that toughness, and it starts with mental toughness. The mental toughness then leads to the physical toughness on the field. And it doesn't happen overnight. You can't just say it and expect somebody to do it. So you have to put people in positions that they're uncomfortable being in. You have to challenge people. You have to challenge them mentally, challenge them physically. Challenge your players, challenge the coaches. Make coaches think outside the box. Do things that are not has not been in their wheelhouse before. That's all part of it to create that culture of toughness in the team. And the word culture is so overused, I believe, at times. And you say, well, I want this, I want that. But at the end of the day, it's football, and you should be able to turn the practice on and turn the game on and see what you want your team to look like. And that starts now. It started 2 weeks ago. It started 4 weeks, or actually 5 weeks ago, when the players all reported back and went into the weight room that first Monday morning.
How have you seen them respond to that challenge that you've issued of toughness?
They want to be. There's no doubt in my mind they want to be, but I wanted to win the lottery a bunch of times too, and I didn't.
Hasn't quite happened
yet.
yet.
And it hadn't happened. So it's one thing to say you want to do something, but it's another thing to go out every day and work to do that, and to wake up every day with that mindset. And look, to go to school at Georgia Tech and be a student here and play football, there's a different level of toughness, a different level of mental toughness, and that carries over to some of the shared adversity in the locker room that these guys have, but that's a bond that brings our team together, and I really believe we'll continue to bring these guys together as the year moves forward.
Keon White, the Senior Bowl recently gave you a compliment. He mentioned you really rallied the locker room. I think he brought the room together, and that he earned that position for sure. There was a video that was taken when you walked into, I think it was this room, when it was announced that you were going to be head coach, and the reaction was just crazy and so enthusiastic. What did that moment mean to you?
It's pretty cool. It really was. I mean, I don't know if I can sit here and say that there was a certain feeling I felt, or because it was just a continuation of the previous 3 months. It was a moment within this whole journey. It was cool. It was awesome to walk in here, to sit, stand in front of these guys as officially the head coach. But truth be told, I mean, you for those guys to believe in me for the previous 8 weeks or 10 weeks and 8 games, there couldn't have been a fracture in my appearance as the head coach. I mean, you talk about mentally, tricking yourself into believing something. You had to, because if there was any cracks in the cup, they would have seen it. Players are constantly testing you. They're constantly trying to see where you really stand and where you believe. And if they thought for 1 second that this was going to come to an end at some point in the near future, I don't think we would have been able to play the way we did, throughout the season. And don't get me wrong, I mean, we were 4-4. I mean, we didn't do anything extraordinary at all. We have a long way to go as a football team, but to sit here in front of them and see the enthusiasm that they had about us moving forward together, that's the part that was special.
Losing a guy like Keon White, and you do lose a lot of, I guess, maybe veteran leadership, would be the term. What do you like about the group that you have coming back, and how you can replace some of those guys, especially on defense?
I don't really know yet. I really don't, because a football team is built over the course of time. You don't just look at a group of guys and say, this is going to be a great team, or this is going to be a great group of leaders. That's something that's manufactured through really adversity from January all the way to August, and then even more so during the season. So I don't know right now. I know what type of kids they are. I know what type of ability level they have. I know who is on leadership committee right now. I don't know who's going to be on there 3 months from now. I don't know how they're going to come together as a team, and how that locker room, is the locker room going to be galvanized over the course of the next several months? Time will tell, but that's the job of a coach and of coaches is to get that out of them.
What's the most important thing for you when it comes to the identity of this team next season, and how you guys can, like you mentioned, 4-4, which was an improvement, but it's not where you want to be.
Not at all.
What's the most important thing when it comes to the identity of this team, and how you can continue to improve this program?
Toughness. In one word, and that's what it is. It's toughness. And this is a hard game. This is a physical game. It is a collision sport. It's hard to get up and do what these guys do every day. It's hard to do what we ask them to do. But to be a tough, physical football team, you usually and have everyone believing that same way, you're usually going to win more than you lose.
One last one for you. Since toughness is so important, how did you learn about toughness? Was there someone who taught you about it? Or, I mean, I'm sure it didn't happen overnight. Over the course of your career playing coaching, how did you learn about appreciating toughness and how important that is?
Well, my mom, first of all.
Yeah?
I mean, I was, single mom, only child. Did a lot of things to make sure that, she was able to provide for myself, but in everything she did to make sure that she was able to provide for us, she never missed a Little League baseball game or never kept me from doing those things, but really seeing, and when you're growing up, you don't know those things. You think you think everybody is the same way. And, but looking back on it, you really see what she did to sacrifice her own self and her kind of personal things that she would have wanted to do for the sake of myself. And to me, that's toughness. It's the ability to withstand breaking. That's what the definition of toughness is. So, her number one. Outside of that, then my high school football coach, Jack Wood, and then my college football coach, George O'Leary.
I love it. Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank
you so
you
much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.